All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very, very happy, very excited to actually be having you in my class. I look forward to working with you throughout the whole session to try to make sure I share with you the knowledge that is relating to the topic, DEN203 IT strategy and management. If there is one thing I'm going to go and kindly ask you to do is about keeping on joining me on a weekly basis. Do not just, come sometimes, stop coming. I want you to come every single week. What I'm going to say from day 0, which is now, I want to say that the way that people basically be able to go and pass my subject is to come regularly every single week. Come and attend the lectorial, do whatever I asked you go and do, go and actually attend the webinar, because by doing so, you are able to go and take the achieve the outcomes I want you to go and achieve. There's an individual assessment you're going to have to go and work on, and there is a group assessment you're going to go and have to work with alongside other students. Now, I'll do everything in my power to go and help you and to guide you and to give you all the support that you guys go and need. But it's very, very important that you guys keep on coming on a weekly basis. You're going to notice throughout the session that I'll be covering a lot of models that basically talk about how do we kind of apply, IT strategy, information system, digital strategy, and the way, what will happen is when I'm going to go and get to the final exam, you will find so many of these, if you want, graphs and models and frameworks that I go and cover throughout the session. You're going to go and find so many of these coming in your final exam as questions. Now, if you haven't been coming to my class, if you haven't been taking notes, if you haven't been engaging in the activities I'm going to go and give you, you will notice that some of these questions, actually a lot of these questions, will be difficult for you to go and answer because simply you haven't really engaged into the things that I want you to go and engage in. So it's very, very important, I'll say it from the beginning, to come on a weekly basis, to come to your lectorials, come to your webinars, and making sure you are actually taking the notes. If you can, print the slides and take notes, or just take a note on a booklet, whatever you feel comfortable with, but just take a note so that when I go and explain a model or explain something, you guys would have taken the time to understand it, because if I give you that same model in a final exam, you can answer it very, very easily. So that's a very simple thing I want to go and really start with. Now, this course is part of the Bachelor of Information Technology, and you can see there are first year, second year, and third year subjects, and mine is one of the second year subjects, DEN203 IT strategy and management. So we'll basically teach it the way it should be done throughout. The agenda, we're going to talk about the weekly structure. We're going to talk about the unique learning outcomes. We're going to talk about the assessments. Specifically more today is, I'll talk high level on both of them, but maybe a bit more details on assignment 1, which is the individual assessment that is ready for you guys to go and access and go through. Any other assessments will be published in due course. We're going to talk about the learning resources. We're going to talk about the schedule of activities. We're going to talk about the learning management system. We're going to talk about the support that we have available for you guys, because we do care about you. We're going to talk about academic integrity. We're going to talk also about the learning outcomes or learning objective of topic 1, which is what I'm going to be covering today and on Thursday, if you're in my class, or on Friday, if you are in my colleague's class. And we're going to talk about the work you need to do before the midweek webinar, what I recommend you do before you come basically to your webinars. Now, the way that we run is we have the intro session. We introduce the objectives and topics for the week. We set any learning activities that we recommend you go and attempt before the webinar. And then we're going to go and have the 2-hour webinar sessions. We basically present the weekly content. And we basically help you to go and engage with us in any activities and any, questions you can ask me. I want you to know that I'm here as your friend. I'm here that I want you to be very, very comfortable to study with me. I want you to feel happy to actually come to my class, because you're going to see someone who really cares about you, someone who wants you to succeed, someone where you're not simply a number in the classroom, someone who just want to go and make sure he can do everything in his power to try to go and help you. So I encourage you to embrace and appreciate and see how much I care about you and work very well with me to enable to help you to really get to best outcomes we would like you to go and really get. Now, there is a consultation that is available. The consultations are 30 minutes per webinar session. So you basically could meet, you know, for me, for example, I have my consultation. I have actually 2 sessions. I teach 9 to 11 and 11 to 1 on a Thursday. So my consultation will be between 1 and 1:30 on a Thursday if anybody needs to go and ask me any questions. My colleagues also have consultation times that are available. Any of that information is published on Moodle. So you can go to Moodle, you can look at the information that is published there. It shows you the name of the person, the phone number of the person, the details of the person, email, and so on. And you could basically go and make contact and come get the support that you need very easily. The learning outcomes of the whole unit, there's so many of them. We want to make sure you demonstrate an understanding of the main issues surrounding the governance of the IT function and organization within the context of a formal governance framework. How do we manage IT? By having a proper framework to be able to go and manage IT within the organization. We want you to show us you understand the importance of having an alignment. And when I talk about the alignment, I want you to see that the alignment between information technology services, so any service I have available, and system operation and strategy to business operation and strategy. So when I talk about that, you know, information technology, you know, we want information technology, we want the information system, we want the service that it delivers, but anything that needs to be delivered there must be aligning with my business operation and business strategy. Business operation, how my business needs to be operating, requires the right information technology. What my business strategy for the long term is needs to be aligned with the information technology strategy. Because if you don't have that alignment, you're basically missing out on important things to be able to ensure you're using the right IT resources in an appropriate manner within the organization. We want you to show me you understand risks. How big is a risk? How to manage a risk? How risk basically should be managed and looked at in a framework of IT governance. We're going to go and explain and apply the simple context, the techniques and tools of a formal framework for analyzing and improving the alignment between business and information technology service functions. So there's a framework we're going to show you. We're going to show you the tools. How do you go and create that alignment? How do we make more alignment, which is really, really important for our business? All right, now we're going to go and explain the characteristics and elements underpinning an IT strategy and apply appropriate tools and techniques to align business and IT strategies and planning. We're going to explain the role of architecture as an analysis and a design framework for organizational information system. You want to design a system. How does architecture help you to go and design a system? We're going to understand and explain the challenges of system integration. We're going to need to integrate systems together as an inevitable component of achieving a coherent IT infrastructure provision in the organization. In other words, when you think about the multiple departments that you have in the organization, you think, how do I actually integrate all of these various departments together in an information technology infrastructure environment? But we also need to think about the integration that tends to happen a lot of time nowadays when we talk about businesses outside to our organization. I might have Toyota, for example, as my business. It has to be integrating with so many various suppliers and so many various clients. How do we go and talk about these challenges of integration, how difficult it is to integrate various systems together? You can see finally, we're going to go and talk about communicating effectively, you know, and function proficiently as an effective member of a team. And that's something that we'll be testing very much, mainly with the group assignment that you guys are expected to go and do by working with various team members. But it's basically something to go and bear in mind. You need to be able to go and work well as a team. At the end of the day, I've worked in service support, and I've worked in project delivery within the information technology field. And what I can tell you simply, both of them requires us to be able to be very, very good at working with other team members. We don't have that ability. It's basically going to go and limit our ability to be able to go and get the right outcomes. Now, these learning outcomes here are learning outcomes that I'm going to be testing in assignment 1, in assignment 2, and in your final exam. So when you want to know what sort of questions I'm going to be giving you in your exams, my very simple question to you is, I recommend you go and lead the learning outcomes, because they will give you some hints about what I basically go and ask you. My questions are very, very well aligned with the learning outcomes that I need to go and make sure you show me, you know, how to go and actually apply, and you know the information about them. So you can see here, I have 3 assignments. I have the first one is a literature review. Second one is a case study report, group report, and the third one is a final exam. Now, you know, I just mentioned a learning outcome. You can see how different learning outcomes will be applied in different assignments. So for example, 1, 2, 3 are going to be applied in the first assignment. So when I talk about 1, demonstrate the main issues surrounding the governance. Okay, let's go and look here. Okay, contemporary IT management issues. Okay, so we're talking about the issues, you know, you're talking about risk management, you're talking about information, IT and business operation and strategy alignment. So you can see we're talking about these things here, you know, alignment, risk management. My assignments are very specifically aligned with what I need to go and ask you, which mean in your final exam, I'll ask you about risk management. I'll ask you about alignment. Why? Because you know that 1, 2, and 3 are going to be tested in your final exam also. So the final exam will test learning outcome 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7. So which one it wouldn't do? It wouldn't cover this, and it wouldn't cover this. It wouldn't cover the role of architecture in your final exam, nor will it cover working effectively as a team. But working effectively as a team is going to be covered in the group assignment that I have there for you. So you notice how it's very, very specific, very aligned. Every learning outcome must be demonstrated, and I'm giving you the opportunity to come to my classes. I explain the models. If you take the notes, if you stay with me, you'll find it very, you know, manageable to be able to go and answer the questions in your final exam and get a good outcome. Now, week 6 is your first individual assignment that is due, and then you have the group case study, which is due in week 10, and then we have the final exam. I'm gonna recommend that you maybe start working on both the individual assignment and the group assignment, you know, almost close to the same time. Maybe, you know, this week and next week, you guys start working on this individual assignment. Maybe the week after you start working, maybe towards week 3 or so, you start working also on a group assignment. So by the end of week 10, you would have basically managed to complete a very good quality assignment that you guys will be proud of, and will help you to go and get very good marks to be able to go and get to obviously the next stage. We want to make sure you're going to finish and then hopefully be able to go and pass and go to the next subject. My friends, any questions so far?
No, sir.
All clear?
All good.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Yes, sir. Who's that?
Biplavi.
Okay, sorry, because there was someone who, Suman, I thought it's Suman Shrestha, because your voice sounded a lot like her. Also a very good student of mine. Thank you very much. Anyway, welcome.
Thank you, sir.
No worries. All right, guys. So this is a prescribed textbook, Peppered and War 2016. If you need to go and get access to the textbook, it is available on ProQuest, and I've loaded some information on the internet, which basically show you how to be able to go and access textbooks on ProQuest. So you can have a look at that, you know, and you can ask any question. There's me and there's a librarian. We'll be more than happy to go and guide you if there's anything you guys need. There's going to be a number of chapters we're going to be covering, you know, starting from the chapter 1. It's basically more the introductory sort of type. We're going to go all the way to be able to go and say, you know, IS You're establishing a strategic management framework, IS and IT, or digital strategy tools and techniques. You know how I told you there's tool and techniques in your final exam. They're here. Portfolio of investing and investment management, you know, again in your exam. Organizing, sourcing, and infrastructure management. And finally, I'll give you some ideas to be able to go and think about for the future. So what are we going to do? Well, this is what we're going to be doing week in, week out. You know, week one, we're going to talk about the evolving role of information system and technology in organization, a strategic perspective. We're going to go all the way down. And week 12, I always leave week 12 for potentially any presentation that I still need to go and do, as well, to give you enough time to go and prepare for the final exam. So it's very important you keep on coming in a weekly basis, including for the remaining weeks, so that you can get the guidance on what you need to go and do to prepare well for your exam. Now, there is obviously a learning management system you guys are using. You have a login, you have a password. If you go to the learning management system, you'll see a lot of information. You'll see my outline, you see assignment 1 details, you'll see the content for week 1. And as I move along, I'll be basically publishing more and more content. Probably every Friday, I'll put the content for next week, so that you guys will be easily able to go and access it 1 week before, and you could start preparing if you would like to go and prepare early. Always check the learning management system. Sometimes I make updates, and although the updates might be very minimum comparing to what I might have published, I always say make sure you kind of access the final file that is available on Moodle on the day that I'm presenting for you, just in case there's been any minor adjustments or any improvements that I might have incorporated in my materials. Guys, the system allows you to contact me, but the system way of contacting me is very poor, because if you send me a message via the system Moodle, it's not very easy for me to go and respond to your message. So what I would say is, if you want to message me, instead of sending me a message via the Moodle system, why don't you send me an email or contact me on my mobile phone? If you send me an email, you also make sure you include your phone number, so that in case I need to call you, I will call you very, very quickly. Now, I need you to bear in mind that I actually teach many subjects, many students. Actually, every semester I have around, I don't know, 200, 250 students every semester that I'm teaching. So my advice, if you want to go and communicate anything to me, just make sure you mention which subject you are studying, so that I can give you a very correct, informed answer for your questions. All your assignments are submitted via the learning management system, and all your feedback will be coming via the learning management system. So make sure you know that. Now, what that also means, you know, some information about plagiarism and similarities that we will very, very carefully check. I check very clearly. I'll talk more about that very shortly. We are here to support you. We are here to help you. We are here because we care about you. There is arrangements available for any support you need. If you have any special needs, if you have any disabilities, if, you know, it doesn't matter what your background, where you come from, whether you're female, whether you're male, whether you're, you know, thinks differently, whatever it is you think about or you do, we are here to go and support you. We have, you know, personal academic mentors. We have community support. For Aboriginal and Torres Islander students, for example, we have preparatory programs to, you know, help you with your English. There's tutorial and study support available if necessary. You know, there's, you know, linkages to the external community, you know, other cultures. So we have a lot of things available for you. And if you need any support, you just need to go and make contact, and you will find that we are very, very ready and happy to go and really help you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, academic integrity, I cannot iterate for you how important this topic is, because I've seen many of my students get a 0 on their assignment or get big penalties on their assignment. It is your responsibility to ensure your work was done by yourself. It is very important that you do not cheat or attempt to cheat, either intentionally or unintentionally. It's very important when you go and research and find information, you go and you don't copy and paste. You go and change your wording yourself. You edit it yourself. You put your own wording, because if you do not do that, it's going to go and mean we are going to be having an issue relating with your similarity. And you cannot copy other people's ideas. You cannot copy phrases. You cannot copy paragraphs. You cannot copy formulas. Okay, you have to go and reference things. Okay, don't go and create for me an assignment that is full, direct quoting. That's not an assignment. Even though you might have gone and referenced it, that is not going to go and give you the mark that you would like to go and get. So my advice to you, my friends, is to go and make sure you are doing your own work, because I have identified, and I'm very good at identifying any similarity and plagiarism that might have been implemented. And it will have to then be escalated to the academic director. And academic director is very good at giving zeros. And that's something that I really don't want to see happen. I want to see you guys being able to go and do your own work. And I want to be able to go and see you, learning to go and reference and research and do things the way you can do them, your own work, to be able to get the right marking. Anybody have any questions? Alrighty. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the first chapter today, I'm going to talk about the evolving role of information system and technology in organization. We need to think about strategy. We need to have a strategic thinking within the organization to be able to ensure we are using the limited resources we have within the organization in the most appropriate manner. Now, I'm going to say that there's a teaching team and their consultation hours are all available on Moodle. So if you need to go and check those details, you only need to go to Moodle, log in, and you will see those details published there for you. You can see my name and any other team members that is basically going to be teaching alongside me. All the details will be there, as well as the consultation, the contacts, and so on. We again communicate the copyright. Guys cannot use other people's information. You need to acknowledge this information. You can't just simply copy and paste other people's ideas and work and say, oh, it's my work. This is going to go and get us in trouble and will result in loss of marks. So please, I reiterate this copyright disclaimer to make sure that, the resources are being used in an appropriate manner. So what are we going to be talking about in the webinar? In the webinar, we're going to talk about information system. We're going to talk about information technology. And we're going to talk about the digital sort of environments in which we need to go and operate. We're going to also talk about digital disruption, the impact of IS and IT. We're going to talk about the 3-era model of evolving IT application in organizations. We're going to classify the strategic uses of information system and IT. We're going to talk about the factors that could make us successful in strategic information system. We're going to talk about a portfolio management perspective on IS and IT investments. Where should we go and invest our resources within the organization? Do we invest into one area or multiple areas? We're going to talk about what is an IS and IT or a digital strategy. We're going to talk from strategic alignment, aligning with potentially what the business needs, to strategy co-evolution. How do we use the IS in IT that we have to be able to re-evolve the way we operate into new ways to go and operate in the future? We're going to talk about the digital strategies for the 21st century. How do we build a dynamic capability to leverage information system and IT? Now, all of these topics are topics we are going to be covering in the webinar. That does not mean that we will be covering every single one of these in the lectorial, but we will be introducing the topics, and anything that I might not introduce here will be covered into further details when I go and cover the webinar. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we talk about the information system, we talk about the information technology, we talk about the digital environment. What I want to do is I want to give you 5 minutes. I want you to go and try to think about what is the actual difference between, information system, IT, and a digital strategy. What is the difference? What's the difference between all of these three items? I'm going to give you 5 minutes. Start making some of your own research. I would like to get some of your own answers of what you think IS is, what do you think IT is, what do you think digital is, and let's go start talking about this. So I'm going to give you this, 5 minutes. I'm going to pause the recording now. And for those of you who are listening to the recording, please spend a few minutes before you listen to any answers to be able to go and research IS, IT, and digital. So I give you the time. Your time starts now. Please start making some of that search. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the question was about trying to find a difference between IS, IT, and digital. Who has any answers they could tell me about? Did you identify any of the differences, guys? What is IT? What do you think? Come on, guys, don't be scared. Let's go.
So ID is study, design, support, implementation of digital information system. That's the ID.
Okay, so how different is IT from information system?
So information system is whole set of ID. I think IT includes in information system. Like IT is IT is subset of IS.
Okay, do you think IT is a subset of IS or IS is a subset of IT?
IT is subset of IS. I think
okay,
so.
That's fine. So let's explain it further. Anybody else could tell me how is IT a subset of IS? What is IT? What
IT is like study of networking, hardware and software.
Okay, so we're talking about hardware, we're talking about software, we're talking about the networks. That's really about what IT is about. Okay.
Yeah, and information system is like data and information that's stored in the hardware and software.
So data and information that is really stored into all of these hardware and software and networks that we spoke about. So what are you saying?
Yeah.
Okay, no worries. Anything else you want to add? Anyone else? Don't be scared. Don't be scared. Come on. Anyone want to add anything? Okay, guys.
Can I say one more?
Of course you can.
Yeah, and IT store data and information, but the information system like deliver, like present that data and information to the user.
Okay, so deliver the information to the user. Yeah, I agree with that. All right. So look, I agree with you that IT is a subset of information system. I agree with that. I can go and get the best technology in the world, the best hardware in the world, the best software in the world, the best database in the world, and that database or software or hardware will do nothing, okay, if we're not actually going and using it in an appropriate manner. So IT might be about the actual technology that we are going to be needing to be able to go and get the job done. But when I talk about information system, it's more about how am I using all of this technology in a way that is going to give me the information that is needed to be able to go and manage the environment in which I go and operate. So you might go and, for example, think about the information that I go and pick up to be able to go and make a decision inside of my organization. I might have a system, and that system I go and run reports, and that report give me information, and then I use that information and I'll be able to go and use it to be able to go and make a decision. But how is that different then from digital sort of thinking? How is that different from the digital thinking we're talking about?
In digital, we can use only the alphabet and the finite number.
Okay, there's actually more I want you to think about. So let's think digitally. Okay, Okay, anybody works in IT at the moment or used to work in IT?
Yeah, not like into like full time, but part time.
So what do you do, my friend?
Just do networking.
Networking. And the networking you're doing, do you have a network inside your organization, or are you relying on systems that are loaded on the internet digitally?
It's internet loaded.
Okay, so what do you use on the internet? Is your network all accessing over the internet?
Yeah, like providing.
So is that IT or is that digital?
That's digital.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about the information? You know, the information, you might have a technology, you can run a report inside your business. That running is inside, that's IS and IT. But what if all of that information is stored on the internet, or is getting from the cloud, or, you know, you get it from a server? What is that? Is that IS by itself, or are we having a digital presence to be able to get the job done? If I'm running all of my work and my reporting and everything from the cloud, is that just information system, or are we talking also about a digital sort of thinking?
I think it's digital source of thinking.
So I want you to think about this interrelationship between IS and IT. IT is the technology itself. IS is how I'm using that technology to be able to get the information that the business needs. And digital, I want you to think about how that information could be really now sourced and available, or even the IT, you know, services could be linked to everything that is happening digitally, which we are going to be using to enable us to go and really reach the right outcomes. We talk about the digital disruption. You know, digital have disruption of the whole organization. The organizations don't operate the way they used to go and operate. Things, for example, about, do you know what RTA is? Anybody knows what RTA is? RTA stands for Road Traffic Authority. It is basically where we go to be able to get driver's license available, and, you know, to make exams and to do all of those things. Now, you used to have across various locations in Sydney, you used to have all of these physical locations where an organization like the RTA goes and actually operate. You needed to go physically to the actual store to you know, make a drive, to renew a driver license, or to pay a fine, or to do any of these things. Now you talk about digital disruption. For example, if I want to go and, you know, renew my driver license, if I want to go and renew my registration, I can now tick, 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 digital presence very quickly. The way that my organization operates have changed completely. I can go and do everything I would like to go and do very digital. If I go and think about the digital disruption in industries, guys, any of you listen to music? Anybody of you listen to music? Come
Yeah.
on, answer me. How do you listen to
Yes,
music?
everyone.
How?
sir.
How? What tools do you use?
I use Spotify, YouTube.
Spotify, YouTube.
Yes.
Okay.
Spotify.
Which tools do you reckon I used to use?
YouTube Music.
My answer is
CDs.
Spotify is love, sir.
CDs. We used to have the physical stuff. Everybody used to go to the store. Now you have everything where? On the Spotify and on YouTube and all of these locations. This is a digital disruption specifically related to the music industry. That's happening through the availability of information system and IT. Okay, so we go and talk about the characteristics of digital disruption. What are they? Well, we are going from a marketplace, something that is physical, to a market space. We are talking from, you know, push everything to the customer to allow the customer to pull and request whatever you would like, they would like to go and have at any particular point of time. So the way we operate, the characteristics of disruption, the way we do things have actually changed. We are no longer operating in the same manner we used to go and be operating before. There's a better new ways for us to be able to go and operate. We talk about the evolutionary role of information system and IT in organization. Initially, this manager says, yes, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go and use IT in information system to make data processing. Instead of making it manually, we get the system to process the data automatically. That's great. That was an awesome improvement. But then they thought, you know what? We could do things better. What can we do? Well, we could go and do management information system. It's like one level up from simply processing data. And what does that mean? Well, let me go and use all of this data, analyze all of this data, and use all of this data in a way that I am able to go and really make decisions that are going to go and be delivering the positivity and the success that the organization would like to go and really achieve. Great, that's even a better improvement from before. And now they say, oh no, we need to think about strategic information system. Let me go and find and apply and get all of these information technology and information system investments that are going to go and help me to meet the long-term strategic needs of my business. If I find a new way to go and operate that is much better, let me go and actually operate. For example, guys, anybody know what Richard Branson did today? What did Richard Branson do? Anyone?
No, sir.
Okay, Richard Branson has been working for a very long time to fly people to the moon. Okay, he said it's been a dream of his for a long time to fly people to the moon. Now, okay, what did he do, guys? He used the same technology. Okay, he had systems, he had hardware, he had machine. He used the same information system, but he found a new way for us to be able to go and find an opportunity. Strategically said, well, I could use this technology that I have. I could use this way of sharing information, but why don't I actually go, instead of flying people commercially here, why don't I fly them to the moon? And that's a brand new way. It's about finding how I can go and use the technology and the processing of information capability that I have available to find new ways for me to go on operating within my organization. This is really what we talk about when we talk about this strategic information system. Think strategically, get the long-term goals that we would like to go and really get for organizations. When I talk about the classification of the strategic uses of IS and IT, how do we use information system and information technology strategically? The way we do it, we can link the customer with a business partner, with the suppliers, link them all together. We can improve the integration of processes. For example, I could have processes within my organization. I can make them better integrated, where information will start freely be shared across various departments. I can deliver information-based products and services, like, for example, what we mentioned, in terms of Spotify, that's information-based product and services. We talk about augmenting human cognitive processes. As a human being, I might have a capability of thinking that is only that big, but with the technology and information system, I make my ability to think and action that big. I use the technology to help me think, to help me to go and get the real outcomes. Now, guys, I gave you one example. Can you think about any other example where we are using information system and IT to link the customer with a business partner and with a supplier? Can you give me any other example?
Amazon.
Amazon, absolutely. You guys all buy from Amazon. It's linking everybody together. You go and talk about eBay. That's another example. Any example of improving process integration? Improving process integration. Guys, we live in New South Wales. What are we all doing at the moment? What did the government say we have to do?
We can get government funds or something like that.
Okay, but now, what did the government say we have to do in New South Wales?
Stay home.
Just stay at home.
Stay home.
So
Stay home.
there might be orders to say stay at home. Okay. Now when we want to go and buy from a shop, what do we do? When we want to go and buy something from a shop, what do we do?
We use
Use
paper.
sanitizer.
We just order.
What else?
Mask compulsory. In
Scan.
only one person.
Scan QR codes.
Wear mask.
Use a card. Pay the bill.
But we're scanning QR codes.
Yes.
That
First.
QR code, okay, it's linked all directly with the government. If they want to go, if they found a case somewhere, because we've done the right thing, they could link the information. They could know how this is linked to that store, to that store, to that store, to you. And then you'll be able to go and get notifications straight away. Be careful, you might have COVID. That's all integrating the processes in their systems to get that information available. We talk about human cognitive reality processes. How do we improve our cognitive ability as people? Well, we have systems that enable us to go and create simulation. So instead, for example, if building a facility that's going to cost me 20 million, I can simulate it and create it digitally, and we can look at it and see how we've designed it and say, all right, is that a good way or is that a bad way? All by using technology and the information that the system or that technology can help you to go and get generated. That is the sort of things I want you to start thinking and bearing in mind. The success factors in strategic information systems are many. One thing to go and bear in mind is you need to be able to go and link whatever I'm working on, link it to the business. You know, if I'm working and having the best technology that is not linked with what the business really wants, I won't really get the success that I would like to go and get. Other things I need to bear in mind to get the success that I want is we need to think about adding value as a reason why we're doing something, rather than reducing cost is the reason for me doing something. I need to think that if I'm doing something that is going to make things more efficient and better, I need to think, can I share my benefits with the right people, with the other suppliers, with the other supporters? Because if I don't share the benefit, why would they continue engaging with me and help me to go and get more innovations available in my organization? When we think about what investments we need to do, we need to think about having a portfolio of investments. We need to think about, you know, strategic investments, high potential investments, key operational investments, support investments. And the difference between these investments is how important are they for my current business and how important are they for my future business? Some things are not important for my current business and not important for my future business. So maybe I just support it, but I don't make too much investment into that. Some things are very, very important for my current business and very important for my future business. This is what I call my strategic needs. And that's where we need to kind of make a lot of investment there, because that's really what is important long-term for our organization that we have to go and bear in mind. So don't think every investment should be the same. If you all do the same investment, you won't get the outcome. If you diversify your investment by considering what is important now for the current business and what is important for the future business, you'll identify that there are strategic investments you can make. You can have high potential investment, you can have key operational investments, and you can have support investments that will help us to go and get the right outcomes. Now we need to think about what is an information system in IT or a digital strategy. Now what I would like to go and say about this, any strategy that I'm trying to go and make is going to go and be linked directly to external pressure. Things that are happening outside my business will go and influence what sort of investments I'm making inside the business. Also, things that are happening inside my business, people might say, oh, we want to get more integration. You might have some person who's very powerful within the organization saying, I need to get more things done and more investments and more digital presence. When we go from there, we have internal organizational pressures that are basically affecting, affecting how we are operating and what sort of, strategy we employ for information system, IT, and our digital presence. We need to think about various things. We might have, how much are we dependent on IS and IT of the business? Some businesses have a low dependence. Some businesses have a high dependence. Now, we also need to know how much centralization we have, how much decentralization we have. If we have a high degree of decentralization, then you have different technology everywhere. Every department might have its own technology. If we have a low degree of decentralization, that means everything is basically kind of centralized. So I have a centralized system. We try to support a centralized system. If we are talking about a high degree on IS and IT, and if you want a decentralization of services, there's a lot of decentralization, high decentralization. It means these guys here will be talking about this category: high decentralization, high infusion. So the complex, high diffusion, it's very, very dependent on technology for my business. But we have high degree of decentralization, which means any place in the world, any department in the world could say, I need this technology, then we're going to go and implement it for them. If every department will implement its own technology and its own investment, it's going to be very, very complex in my organization. It's going to prevent me from achieving the value I would like to go and really achieve. We need to think about IS and IT strategies as two things. We need something and I supply something. Information technology side, supply the technology, the information, the technology, the software, the hardware, the network that is needed. We need, that's information. That's what the business needs. We need this information to be able to operate. Business-led, they tell us what they need. They tell us which information they need to make the decision. And by us using that information, we are able to go and give it to the IT supply side of things, and IT will supply me the technology that I need to be able to get the information that I need to be able to make the right decisions. We talk about the co-evolution from strategy alignment to strategy co-evolution. Strategy alignment, I actually go and align how I'm operating within the business based on what is happening in my environment, internal or external environment. Internally, we might be needing any particular technology. Externally, we might be seeing a best technology implemented that is innovating the whole thing in the way which we operate. I go and find what is happening outside and I align my strategy to match with all of these advancements that are available out there. But then we can create a strategy co-evolution, because if I invest into the right technology and I get the right information, I could find an opportunity where I could use the same technology that I have, the same information that I have, to be able to go and operate in a new approach and new environments and get new set of customers, a new set of value within my organization. That's what I call strategy co-evolution. Don't keep my strategy as is by looking at what other people are doing. Look at the capability that I bought and how can I use that capability to co-evolate and change my long-term strategy to be able to advance and be quicker in getting what is needed and the benefits than other people that are basically, other people that are companies that want to go and actually compete with me. We talk about the digital strategies for the 21st century. We're talking about building a dynamic capability. Now, how can we develop a 21st digital strategy, guys? There's a lot of things we can do. I'm not going to talk into much details now because we don't have a lot of time left. But what I would want to say is my organization, how it operates, it's actually supported by technology, which is any IT development, but also the IT development that happen in the marketplace. they provide more opportunities for my business to go and operate. And the way my business operates will actually redefine competitors and will redefine how the competition need to go and actually operate. But also how, you know, the competitors are operating will impact on my strategy as a business. I'll have to go and make a change. I'll have to go and make improvements because the competitors are going to go and get my business, and I have to change my business to be able to ensure I am going to be remaining ahead of everybody else. Technology could go and disrupt the rule of operation. We might say, normally we're going to go and have music and a CD, but technology now says, no, we don't need it as a CD. Let's go and disrupt the whole competition and let's get everything to go and be on Spotify on the internet. That's redefining the whole way of operation that would otherwise not have been possible without information technology. For example, I told you earlier about graphs that I might go and ask you about. I remember, I think this graph was in one of my final exams. I could ask you about this and ask you to go and explain it. And that's why you need to be knowing what I'm talking about, taking your notes and using that when you want to go and kind of prepare for your final exam. My beautiful, lovely students, any questions at all?
No, sir.
All clear? Happy?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Guys, for this week, all I want you to do is I want you to read chapter 1, and any information you might go and have, you can ask me further about it when we come to the class next week. Actually this week, but I'll be covering a bit further when I go and do my webinar this week. So please come, be many. If it's my webinar or the other webinars, make sure you come and be many. Do not miss your classes. And if you know anyone who's enrolled in this subject and who did not come today, please, I really urge you to encourage them to attend every week and try to benefit from the information and support that is available. I want to thank you very kindly for your time and for your effort. I care about you, not as a number in my student, but as an individual in my students, and I'll do everything in my power to support you to get the success. Thank you very much for coming. I look forward to see you again next week.